All right, welcome everybody to the October 10th, 2023 Delta Amateur Radio Club membership meeting. To get started off, just a few reminders for housekeeping. Don't forget, if you did not sign in on the sheet beside the door, please do so. And then also, we have tickets. This is the next to last month for you. If you fill out your name and call sign on just one of the tickets for being here tonight, you'll be entered to win some cool stuff at our next meeting. So, again, for those who might not know, because I see a few new faces we haven't seen in a while in here, the tickets, we'll do prizes, prize drawing at our next monthly meeting for November, and for each time that you attend a meeting. So it's free to fill out a ticket, but each time you attend, you get a ticket into the drawing. So don't forget to fill out your name and call sign and put a ticket into the bin. All right, so if you have joined, if this is your first meeting, or if you have joined Delta Club for the first time within the past 2 or 3 months, would you please stand? All right, well that's still good. That means we've got a lot of returning members. So in that case, we will start with introductions right here at this table.
John, KM4BBH.
Paul, KY4MX.
Jim, KD4FQ.
Bob, Kilo Oscar 4 Zulu Charlie Juliet.
Bob, K4KWR.
Ed, KA4BLL.
James, Kilo 4 Alpha Victor Whiskey. Bob, KM4 SEB.
Dana, WI3B.
Scott, KM4POU.
Randy, KQ4 HJ8.
Marlon, KM4 DPP.
Tom, NLIA. N4LIA.
Randy, KQ4, KY.
Park, AI5CY.
Ty, KX4MQ.
Joe, NS4E.
Barry 1, WB4 SWP.
Janet, KN4FB5.
Dan, KN4FBJ.
Pat, W4OQG.
David, Whiskey 5, Delta Juliet Whiskey.
Sean, KK4LST.
Steve, KK4VPT.
Jonathan, KO4WAQ.
Eric, AK4YD.
John, KO4ZQS.
Jeff, N4AFF. Billy, WL4B.
Joe, KG4ZVH.
Rick, W84NVM.
Richard, K4DXF.
The younger Barry, W5CK.
Ken, KI4AOH.
Rick, N0KON. Repeater Ferry.
We'll jump over here.
Jim, N4BOK.
Now, W4GMF.
And Mary Jean, KY4FB. Well, again, welcome everybody. Glad to see you. I know the weather's getting cooler, so it's getting more tempting to kind of get outside and do some things out that way. So certainly appreciate you being here tonight. Next, we are going to vote on the Secretary's minutes and Treasurer's report.
I make a motion we accept the treasurer's report and the minutes as published in Sparks. Second motion.
All right, so Ham Hilliard made the motion to accept the Treasurer's report and the Secretary's minutes as published in Sparks. I heard Kim Lassiter with the second. Is there any discussion on it? All right, hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The motion unanimously passes. Do we have a BE update for tonight?
Didn't have it, but no.
All right, well that's an update, Greg. Joe is come back to training. So a quick recap. I tell you what, Steve, would you like to give a recap on Blessed Blues?
Yeah, we, yeah, thank you. Yeah, we had, pretty good presence there. We could use some more. I talked to some people later on, and they said they listened in. So maybe if you listened in and you saw what it's like and saw what we do, maybe you could help next time. We had SAGs, following the riders around. We had a lesson in setting up your radio. We had a good lesson in troubleshooting if somebody is having a radio, not jumping to conclusions or to assumptions of what the problem is. But that's what it's all about, so that we can learn, while we're actually doing things. We have talked to the bike people, and they're interested in involving us maybe with one of their get-togethers and having us do a little presentation of how we do help them and how we can help them more and that type thing. And once again, if anybody knows of any events that we could help with and get involved with, just let us know.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve, and thank you to everybody who came out to help with that, who did. All right, let's see. Joe, when you get done eating that, I'll be ready for you to do the training update. Did anybody in here participate in the VODA W1AW/4 activity? Would y'all like to speak about that a little bit? Carolyn submitted a little bit of information, but...
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date, but we did participate, was it the 13th?
That's right.
Sounds about right. Participated as W1AW/4. And what I did this time, instead of doing digital, I actually did 2-meter and conducted a net and had several people check in via Simplex on 146.535. I think I ended up with 24. Does that sound right, Joe? I can't remember exactly. But it was neat, and we had pretty good turnout, and just chose to do it that way rather than operating for the whole hour with 2 meters. We're not going to get very far. So, Steve, you did HF?
I did HF, and this time, that's all right. I did HF, and this time, I think we did it actually, we were able to do it for the whole week. And a lot of times, what I would do, they wanted you to sign up, but heck, if I saw that somebody hadn't signed up, I went ahead and said, hey, I'm going to do it during this next 2 hours, and I did, for the week, it's not a lot, but I did like 200 or so for the week. And the last I looked, /4 was, because you can look on there, they got a leaderboard, and I'll try to maybe look at that at the break, but at the leaderboard, overall of everybody involved with Volunteers on the Air, the /4 was like number 2 or 3 of the whole list. So, since then, some other slashes have done it, so maybe we've dropped down, but we had a pretty good presence, overall in the /4 area. So.
And I saw another hand. Who else participated in that? You did? How'd it go for you? I'm asking you as you just put something in your mouth for you, but...
No, it's first time, and I guess it's talking to John, so it went well.
Okay.
I just got a new antenna put up, so I was really pleased with that.
Awesome. And Joe, you did as well?
I participated. I didn't actually call, but I participated. It was fun doing the 2-meter net. That was a lot of fun.
Anybody else? Okay, Carolyn, she said she got 46 QSOs, so it sounds like she had a pretty good contact list as well. So I'm glad that we had so many participate in that, and it seems like a cool, unique activity. So hopefully maybe they roll that around at some point down the road for another special event that we might could bring that up again. So, training.
Thank you, Carol. Mary Jean. Training, I'm planning a general class, licensed class, which is somewhat up in the air right now because we can't do it at Allendale. The Memphis Police Department Appling Farm Station had 3 different dates that we really couldn't do it in, and I was going to do a hybrid where you meet on the first night, then Zoom the other nights, and then testing the last night in person. However, I had an individual that's going to be in the class that said that he was going to his HR department to see if he could host us at Sims Murphy Clinic, which is on Humphreys at Walnut Grove Road, which for me is great because it's a mile from my house. I would like to wait and see what he has to say, and then we can go from there. I'd like to have, I think an in-person class does a lot better than a Zoom class. The results that I've had out of the Zoom classes are not as good as an in-person class, plus the fact when you get into the general, you can get some camaraderie together that you don't get from a Zoom class. So I'm going to wait until Friday to see if he's been able to get HR to approve the use of one of their conference rooms. I also gave that we do provide communications for the hospitals, so that might, he said most of what they do let outside people in for meetings that are primarily medical, and I said, well, we support the hospital, so that might help. So it's somewhat up in the air. I think it'll probably start either October 30th or November the 6th, and it'll be for 5 or 6 Monday nights from 6:15 to 9:30. The reason it's up in the air as to whether it's 5 or 6, it depends on how long Perry talks or how long other instructors talk, because we run over some where I want to just leave a buffer in there so we have plenty of time in the class. And then probably in January we'll start an extra class, license class like we have. And that'll probably be on Saturday because we need a little more time for that training. That'll go over 6 classes.
Thank you, Joe. Does anybody have any questions for him about that? The next thing on the list, last month we started something new thanks to your feedback, and that was that we added an Elmer list, like an Elmer sign-up sheet. So we got a couple people who signed up wishing to or volunteering to be Elmers, and then we got a couple people who signed up who requested some assistance. And before the night even ended, one Elmer had already assisted one of our new members with a problem with some of his radios, and he was able to start getting on the air. So there were a couple others who signed up, and I'm going to hopefully try to pair you guys up with an Elmer tonight. But again, if you are willing to serve as an Elmer, or if you've got anything you need help with, it's not going to be a super quick process. But feel free to sign this sheet right here, and then we'll try to pair you up with somebody. Because I know some problems are a little bit easier to fix. Some might take a little bit more time, especially if it deals with equipment at home. So, yeah, I'd encourage you to take advantage of that if you need that. Let's see. Next month we are going to vote on the board of directors positions for the upcoming year. Again, we'll also have prizes, door prizes at that meeting, but I encourage you to make sure that you attend. We're going to take nominations here in a few minutes for that. Of course, we get the nominations made this meeting. This just kind of helps us. They need to sit, and that way people have time to think and process that for the next month. But whether we've got an opening or not, if you're interested in serving on the board, I would encourage you to consider either volunteering to be nominated or come to let one of us know, so that way, even if it's not tonight, we can still have nominations made at the next meeting. So, but it just helps for planning purposes to do some of the nominations tonight. So, All right. Are there any other announcements?
Yep.
All right, Barry?
Okay, first of all, I'm happy to report that, what I understand, that the repeater did a pretty good job for the bike ride.
Yes.
And, anyway, and so, I mean, I kind of want to deem that thing fixed, so knock yourself out.
So neat.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, probably. Anyway, the other thing is the license for the club, which is due right now. It runs out the 3rd of December. Anyway, I've spent about the last week and a half, or 2 weeks, I'm sorry, 2.5 weeks, working on this thing, trying to do it, and I ran into tons and tons and tons of problems. It wasn't just a simple renewal, like you hope. But anyway, through all this stuff, Joe helped me out some of this too. And we're waiting right at the moment to hear that it's been renewed. Everything has been done. It just says pending right now, and I expect in the morning that it should say that it's, done. So anyway, we're good for another 10 years as soon as that comes up. That's it.
Thank you so much, Barry, for all your hard work. I know we even checked in on handhelds a few times from all the way over there, and it was great. So it did a wonderful job. Does anybody else have any announcements?
This coming Saturday is Day in the Park in Olive Branch. It's from 9 to 3. The Mississippi section does a Day in the Park around the state of Mississippi, and Cara and Olive Branch Club are going together to sponsor it like they did in 2018. It's basically an outdoor ham fest. They're going to have some speakers. They'll have food, free food, and they'll have flea market. We're going to be down. We're going to take equipment down to have it for sale down there. So hopefully we can get rid of some of our equipment. We've been ongoing on that. Hopefully some of the people in the lower part or middle part of Mississippi that come up will take it off of our hands at a nice price. Any questions on? It's in the Olive Branch City Park. If you go down Riverdale and then get on Goodman Road, it's, I don't know, within probably a half a mile. You turn left and it's south of Goodman Road. But it's in one of the pavilions at the Olive Branch Park.
From 9 to 3.
9 to 3, right. I'll go get it figured.
All right, and I will. So we are about to open up the floor for nominations for the upcoming board of directors positions. And I will say, I'm not going to be running for re-election this year. I have really, truly enjoyed doing what I'm doing, but I've taken on a new job, and I'm not sure that I can balance everything effectively. And so that being said, I think I would encourage you. We do need, and you'll see in a minute, we've got a couple of positions that are going to be open right now. And so even if you're new, the bare minimum requirement for most of the positions is that you've attended 6 meetings in the past year. Even if you're new, I would encourage you to consider it because it's a great way. And you do need to meet the specific requirements for the position, but it is a great way to actually get to know more members, and you certainly kind of get, I think, a whole lot more out of it in a sense, because you get to see a different side of everything going on behind the scenes, and you get to know and be in the loop for everything that's going on in the club, and even in the ham radio community in our area. So if you're on the fence about it, and if somebody's come to talk to you about it and you're on the fence about it, I'd encourage you to give it a go and consider that. So with that being said, Terry, do you need another minute or two, or are you good? I'm good. All right. So we are going to open the floor for nominations. And so I'm going to hand the mic over to Perry. Since Perry is the chair of the nominating committee, and he has worked to see who we can get to run for these spots.
Let me put my drink down here.
That'd be a gentleman.
Well, I missed that earlier presentation, but right now, all of our spots for the board of directors, the present holders of those offices are willing to run again for 2024. We're still looking for folks to run for the office of president and secretary. So for Director of Programs, John Reiners is our current Director of Programs. Are there any nominations for Director of Programs?
John Reiner.
Hear one for John Reiner.
Any seconds?
I wish I could talk like an auctioneer. And just sit. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. All right, thank you, Mary Jean. So let's do this. To save some time, let's just go down the list. And these are the positions where people that are currently serving are willing to serve for next year. Vice President is myself, Perry Hayes. Our Treasurer is Jim Martin. Our Director of Training is Joe Lowenthal. Our Public Affairs Officer is Mike Harrison. Scott Adams is in charge of meetings and special events, and as we know, John Reiners is Director of Programs. Do I have any nominations from the floor to nominate those people for election for 2024?
Yes.
All right, John.
Know the people.
All right,
What's your
Jonathan.
call time again?
KO4.
KO4WAQ.
Second.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, John.
And then, I know LST, but what's...
KK4.
KK4 LST made the second.
Any discussion on that at all? You can, if you'd like to run for the board and someone's willing to fill that spot, it doesn't mean that you can't run against it.
Point of interest?
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Sure.
I understand, and Mary Jean, I want to thank you first for serving, because it's a lot. People don't see it. I know how that works. It is tough. Is there a succession in the club so that, somebody's not just going right into the president? Is there a concern with that?
There's nothing written in our bylaws that actually requires somebody to go directly from a certain position to president. Ideally, the precedent, as in most organizations, is that somebody would serve at least on the board for 1 year, if not multiple years, maybe serve as VP, but like even in the past, if you look and go back on our website and look, we've had several people who served as president who were not VP before that. And so there's nothing preventing somebody from, any of you who haven't served, as long as you meet the requirements of the 6 months attended, and then you continue to meet the requirements throughout the year, there's nothing preventing anybody not on the board to run for president. That
said, the second question to back that up is, are any of the current board members willing to roll up into that position, or should it be assumed that by saying that we're going to run again, they're not interested in that?
No one has come to me on the board or otherwise and expressed interest in being the president for next year or the secretary.
It's all yours, Todd.
The tide, sure moment, the planets are aligned.
That's not why I'm asking.
I nominate Ty for president of the club. All in favor? Aye.
Congratulations.
Thanks for speaking up.
That happens. It just happens.
For vice president. All right, we've got you. Oh, my God. Yes, sir.
I got a question.
Yes, sir, David.
And is there like an assistant position? So like John does a wonderful job, but I have my own ideas, and maybe I'm not ready for that type of position that he handles. That's a lot of work. Maybe I can assist him. Is that a nominated position, or is that just something John says? Hey, David, you want to help? Come on.
You want to help? Come on.
Exactly, David. We've talked about it a little bit. If that's the interest of yours down the road, but for any of these positions, but especially, say, for John's, I think that's a great idea to just get with John and say, hey, Scott would be another one. He's the director of programs. That would be another great thing where someone could kind of shadow him, help him out, get to know a little bit about director of programs or how we set up and hold the refreshments for the meetings. So I think that would be a great idea. So if you're maybe interested in that, you could start working with John, and I'll bet you this time next year he might be willing to let you have that. That's a great question.
That's how I started off as secretary, like 7 years ago. Is that I started off kind of helping out because I didn't have enough meetings under my belt to serve. And I enjoyed it because it, like, honestly, that was the fastest way for me to actually learn who was who. And there's no doubt in my mind that had I not served as secretary, there's no way I would know most of you guys in this room, because reading your names across the applications and then getting the emails back when we send the welcome emails and stuff like that, to me as a new member, like, it was a really great way to get to know my fellow members in Delta Club. So even if you're new, like, secretary would be a good one to run for, because then, like, you're getting to know who's actually here. You're getting to sit in on some of the meetings and whatnot. And there is, you do have to write the minutes and that for the board and for the club meeting. But if you can, kind of get over that part, that's a really good way to get to know who's in the club. So.
Yeah, being on the board is really interesting because you do see behind the scenes of the club. You really do get to meet people, get to know people in the club, and you find out more about the membership and who attends and who's in ARRL, and you have access to certain things behind the scenes that you wouldn't ordinarily have. But it really doesn't take up much of your time. It's a great group of people. Maybe not me, but everyone else on the board is a fantastic person.
Come on.
Gary,
Yes, sir.
Board of Directors meeting meets via Zoom.
Right.
So
We do meet by Zoom. It's usually what we call the first Tuesday. It's generally the week before the general club meeting. And we meet on Zoom, so you don't even have to get dressed up or put long pants on or anything. That's a good.
Too much information.
Sorry, Joe.
He's got a good imagination.
So for the 6 months, isn't it? Cause am I wrong, or was that just something we did during COVID? If you like for 4 or 5 right now, as long as you've got 6 by the time you're
As long as you've got 6 by the time November rolls around. So, and if not, that could be something where, if that position were maybe not filled and then it was appointed, like if you were going to have your 6 come January, and, we could technically leave that position open if nobody else ran, then you could be appointed into that position come January, so long as you met the 6 meeting requirements.
Do we, any other nominations? Any other questions about any of the positions? I hear a lot of chatter back from this table. It
I
sounds
know,
like
this-
somebody's nominating
Sounds
somebody.
like everyone's eager to run down this end
I
of
made a
the.
nomination for Perry for president, and we haven't heard anything about it.
I appreciate it, Richard.
Look at it.
Well, see, what he doesn't realize yet is if nobody serves as president, he kind of automatically.
Kind of defaults.
I'm kidding, I'm
There's no speaker in the house, and you got it. You're a lawyer, you got
So you're saying we should be looking for a vice president then?
Yes, that was the reason I asked that question.
Yeah, Tom wants to be vice president.
I will help, I want to be on the board, but I think it's extremely presumptuous, you know, and kind of, you know.
Well, he's already been voted in.
Just for me to try and say that, you know, I could jump into being president, I don't think I could do that role really. And I don't think it's really smart for, you know, me to do that because, like I said, you guys have, there needs to be kind of a continuity there, right? You guys have a way that you're conducting business and your meetings and stuff, and I wouldn't want to interrupt it, but I would like to, you know, help.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, Mary Jean does a great job, there's no doubt about it, but I think if you went to a meeting or two, you know, you could easily pick that up. It kind of has a rhythm to it, I guess. And even in this meeting, you kind of get used to the rhythm, you know, every month, and we're all kind of, you know, we're waiting for certain things to happen. We're waiting for Ham to jump in. You know, we're waiting for different things to happen. The board meetings are a lot like that. We don't have a whole lot of business to talk about every month. You know, things might come up that need a vote. You know, things we have a regular course report from the treasurer and secretary and things like that. You know, to know where our money is, to know where our membership is, things like that. But it's not really that involved. It's not really that involved. If you'd be interested in being vice president, I could take Paul's place and be secretary. If you'd be interested in that.
However you guys feel, because I don't, you know, I just want to let you know that I do really want to help.
Well, and I appreciate that, John. I know we've talked about that.
Yeah.
You have a lot of good ideas.
I have crazy ideas.
No, you have a lot of good
But
ideas.
again, I'm a weird ham radio guy.
Yeah, don't know they're all digital.
0110.
Right. Civil War starts tonight. Richard fired the first shot.
You got to know that we hang out on 220 together, and we razz each other about this kind of stuff all the time. So
That's what makes it
I love
fun.
those
That's what
guys.
makes it fun. Yeah. I would be willing to take Paul's place as secretary. If you would want to run for vice president, I'd certainly be willing to do that.
Sure, I'm glad to do that. If somebody wants to so nominate that.
So moved.
All right. That would be a good deal. I'd be willing to do that. So,
Hey, Todd, what's your last name?
McMahon.
MC,
M-A-H-A-N.
and your call sign again?
Kilo X-ray 4, Mike, Quebec.
Because a lot of you guys in here, I know you buy your suffixes, not your full call sign.
Right.
I'm working on that. That's the downside of checking in. Okay.
thank you, Ty. I appreciate that.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Well, we can leave this for now, because we do have the nominations open technically until the November meeting. And so, right now we've got, president position open, for vice president, Ty, for secretary position, Perry, for treasurer, Jim, director of training, Joe, director of publications, Mike Harrison. We've got meeting and special events for Scott, and then director of programs, we've got John. So do we want to add any more? We can do it now.
I'd like to see if we can get like some of these guys over here that are very experienced Delta Club member guys, like, oh, I don't know, Rick Tillman or somebody like that. To go. Or Richard, or
Have an analog president and a digital vice president.
Hey guys, that's the only way we're going to keep this country together. Put y'all on the board together.
I already love it.
Seriously, thank you all. We've always been blessed to have good people on the board, until I got there at least. And, like I said, it doesn't take much of your time, but it does mean a lot, and it is important to the well. We've always had people step up and be willing to do it. So please think about it, pray about it. My phone number and email address are in Sparks, so think about it. And, please holler at me if I can provide any information for you, answer any questions. Just let me know. I'd be willing to talk to you anytime. Just let me know. And thank you. Thank you, Todd. Seriously, we appreciate it. All right, boss. Thank y'all.
And thank you, Perry. All you did to work on that. And I know you had a couple of people helping you, so thank you to all of you as well. So, and I know Joe made the motion to do the switch. Was there? Who seconded that? Anybody?
I'll second it.
All right. What's your call sign?
N0KYN.
N0KYN. Second that, by the way. Thank you. So again, so that's going to be, those nominations are going to be open until the November meeting. So if any of us come up and kind of tap you on the shoulder to consider that, or if you're kind of thinking about maybe stepping into it, to give it a go, like he said, if you are new, y'all, I promise you, because one thing I know we've heard a couple times from folks, like, you know, I'm not a public speaker, and I still get up here, and because basically what this is as president, you're just getting up here and talking to friends. And so I can do enough to help enough with the transition to make sure, you know, if you want an agenda and stuff to help with the flow, like I can help do that transition and everything. I just know as the school year gets going, I won't be able to do as much, especially throughout the summer and next fall. So if you do think that you might be interested in that, let us know. All right, so do we have any other new business? All right. Well, hearing none, we are going to take about a 10-minute break, and then we're going to come back to hear about the Maui wildfires for our program.
From the arsonist himself.
We have some equipment over here. Whatever you want to offer, we'll take it.